Welcome back to Inside Cajun Nation, everybody. George Faust here. Pleased to be joined by the head football coach at Notre Dame High School, the legendary Coach Louis Cook. And Coach Cook, thanks so much for spending some time with us here on this this new segment we're doing here on Cajun Nation.
I appreciate the opportunity, and glad we're getting into high school football already.
Right,
Yeah.
Never too early for us.
Never
right?
too early.
High school football is a way of life, no doubt about it. Coach, well, let's just start. Let's start at the end, even though it's not really a comfortable ending to last season. A loss in the semifinals. St. Charles kind of got they're kind of the monkey on the back right now for the Pios, but nonetheless a really positive season for the Pios.
I mean, anytime you get to the semifinals, it's hard to be too disappointed. Although you're one step away, from the championship game, but at the same time, it's always a good season if you can continue to advance each week in the playoffs. St. Charles, they do have our number right now. It's been a few years that we haven't been able to get by them, and then they've gone on to win. Mm-hmm. So they're a really good football team. But now here we start over again. That's the beauty about being a coach and coaching football, is that you get to start over every year. So we're in the summer workouts now. Of course, it seems like the dog days of August already hit. But,
yeah, right.
With this temper. But kids, we've had a good start to the summer workouts, and it's got us as coaches excited about the 23 season coming up.
Yeah, and when you don't pull any punches on your schedule, Coach. You never have, and it doesn't change. And I think the dynamic of the schedule this year is really interesting to me, because you start off with Southside, a team you beat last year in the first game of the year, but they got. I think that's the only game they lost. It
was in the regular season.
Yeah.
They ended up 9-1, won the district championship, and
in the biggest district in our area.
Right,
5A.
I'm glad we had them early.
Yeah,
because they got on a nice roll, and they got some confidence going. Young program and up and coming. There'll be a program to be reckoned with.
So when you look at the schedule, obviously it's a situation where you're trying to build yourself up for the postseason more so than even the district schedule, right? I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah, the teams that we're going to meet in the second round, we played Lake Charles College Prep in the second round last year, and it's quality players all over the field. We didn't see anyone like that in our district schedule.
Sure.
But we did when you play a St. Martinville, like you say, a Southside, Turlings, Cecilia. Those kinds of, they had those type of players on the field that we had to go up against. So it gives you a point of reference to let the kids know in their mind, hey, this team is like what we've played early in the year. Yeah. And I had a guy years ago ask me, he said, Coach, your first 5 games are always so tough. Do you do that by design? Or I said, partially by design. I said, it's hard for us to find games with teams, in our
size.
League. Yeah. But at the same time, I said, I'm going to ask you a question. How many weeks does it take to win the championship? He says 5. I said, well, we got 5 weeks that are like trying to get there. And I said, you win a big game, say you beat the Turlings, that's always really good. Or in this case, you beat the Southside. I said, you don't have much time to celebrate, because the next week you're playing the same caliber team in the week after, just like in the playoffs. It's hard. You don't have much time to celebrate a win, because if you don't get ready the next week, then your season's over. So, those games kind of develop a mindset for us, and gives us a gauge as to where we are, things that we need to get better at. If you're playing, you're beating up on teams, you go through the first 4 or 5 weeks and you never had to struggle. At some point, you're going to run into somebody that you realize, like, we're pretty weak, right? But we never got exposed.
Right.
So the first 5, well, you scrimmage STM, and we got Karen Cronin Jamboree, so we'll be exposed early. But then the first 5, you play a whole game, and
Right.
then you learn a lot about your team.
Absolutely. And speaking of your team, you lose a senior quarterback who was hurt much of the year a year ago, Aiden Mouton. You got a couple of guys that are coming in and trying to fill that role. And then on the defensive side, just talk a little bit about what you have coming back. I mean, right. I know on defense is the bread and butter, but you're also an offensive coach too.
yeah. You know, we had 27 seniors, and it was really good group, but we've had classes like that in the past. We have 21 seniors on our football team this year, and the one we hated that Aiden went down in the first game of the season, fourth quarter, right? I mean, it's a tight game, and so Jackson Link was our backup. He was a junior, and came in, threw a touchdown pass, hit Teddy Menard late in the game that made it a two possession game, and so and then he had to quarterback the next 4 weeks, which was the brunt of the toughest part of our schedule.
Sure.
So that experience, now that Aiden got back, and we were glad to have him back, but it's also now at this point nice that Jackson got those games in.
Right.
And now we got Parker Faust. Parker's is in the same role that Jackson was in last year. So. And so we're trying to get those two guys ready to go because again, I mean, it's not a couple of years ago, Ben Broussard led us to a championship.
Sure.
18 and 19, he breaks his hand in the scrimmage.
Right.
Parker Seon had to step in and help.
Yep,
so, you never know. I mean, you got to have guys ready to go. Defensively, I think our biggest concern right now is in the secondary because all four guys, the two corners and the two safeties, will be playing, starting for the first time. And, Luke Prevost played some last year. He's probably Kagan Sims at corner, actually was in the Southside game, first game of the year as a sophomore corner. But inside, we have Jackson Casanova and we have William Prevost, both be juniors. Jackson started every game last year, and William played it quite a bit. So, those two guys are anchored inside, and then on the D-line, Sam Kirsch, started every game for us last year. So we'll have, some first-timers around those guys, but, hopefully, when you're strong down the middle, it gives you a shot. And we got Sam inside, then Jackson Cass and Will as the two inside backers.
Sure.
We have two senior backers, Kiefer Kelbaugh and Walker Venable that, play on the outside for us. And then Eli Grove, and then, as I said, Luke Prevost are the two safeties. We got Kagan will be at corner, and he played last year, and then Jaden Andrepont should be the other guy. So offensively, we've got a couple of linemen coming back. Yeah. Luke Schultz, who has played real well for us.
You definitely have a lot of talent coming back. We're looking forward to seeing how the season pans out for the Pios. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk a little bit more. There's a book coming out about you, and we're going to talk about that, discuss it. The author is here as well, and we'll do that when we come back right here on Inside Cajun Nation. Don't go away.